reaction E, this is the reaction of carbonyl compounds with iodine. This reaction is also known as the iodoform test. So when you hear people mentioning about iodoform test is the reaction of carbonyl compounds with iodine. So what are the carbonyl compounds of interest in this case? We have methyl ketones, not all ketones, methyl ketones. Methyl ketones are the ones that undergo iodoform test or that react with iodine. Methyl ketones, I am meaning ketones with this structure. CH3, they have a methyl group close to the functional group. Ketones that have that structure. Which ketones? For example, there is propanone. Propanone has a CH3CO. Any ketone which has a CH3 and a CO. Any ketone which has a CH3 and a CO. Any ketone with that structure. Yeah. So no matter what comes next, so long as it has a methyl group close to the carbonyl carbon. So methyl ketones with that structure and ethanol. By the way, ethanol also has that structure. This is how ethanol looks like. Ethanol is CH3, C double bond with oxygen and H. So ethanol has a CO. Ethanol has a C. A CO close to CH3. Ethanol has a CO close to CH3. Has a CO close to CH3. Yeah. So this test is looking for that. It is looking for the test for the methyl group. It is also known as test for methyl group close to functional group. Your iodoform test. Test for methyl group. It wants that CH3. So methyl ketones with that structure and ethanol react with a solution of iodine. So the iodoform test is consisting of solution of iodine in the presence of sodium hydroxide on warming to form a yellow precipitate of triiodomethane. So how does triiodomethane looks like? Methane, first of all, methane is CH4. Now I am saying triiodo, 3 iodines. So meaning that I remove 3 hydrogens and I introduce triiodine and I introduce 3 iodines. Therefore, triiodomethane has this structure. So this reaction, this is very important in organic practicals. This reaction is used to distinguish methyl ketones. Is used to distinguish methyl ketones. What are methyl ketones? CH3CO R prime. So long as you have CH3CO, you are methyl ketones. So this reaction is used to distinguish methyl ketones, ethanol with that structure, and methyl secondary alcohols How do methyl secondary alcohols look like? They have a methyl group close to the carbon carrying OH. They have a methyl group close to the carbon carrying OH. So this reaction is used to distinguish methyl ketones, ethanol, and methyl secondary alcohols from other organic compounds. from other organic compounds. People, note that I repeat this, not every carbonyl compound reacts with iodine. Not every carbonyl compound undergoes iodoform test. Not every. For example, propanol. Propanol lacks a CH3CO. Propanol lacks it. It will not undergo. Any carbonyl compound which is not having the arrangement CH3CO and any alcohol which is not having the arrangement CH3CHOH does not undergo iodoform test. So iodoform test is restricted to compounds that have this structure, ethanol, and also alcohols that have this structure. Therefore, this reagent is very important. This reagent is very important in distinguishing those compounds from other organic compounds. The observation is that, so for this is observations. These are observations. Observations for methyl ketones. For methyl ketones, the ones that have CH3CHO. So meaning that ethanol is the only aldehyde. Ethanol is the only aldehyde that undergoes iodoform test, not any other aldehyde. So observations with methyl ketones, ethanol. Now I have also forgotten. So there's something which I have forgot. Sorry. By the way, you see, methyl secondary alcohols that have this structure. So meaning that for alcohols, this reagent is looking for CH3CHOH. There is also ethanol. Ethanol also undergoes. I had forgotten. Because for ethanol, you have a CH3, also ethanol. But I think this will be emphasized under what? Under alcohols. Also ethanol, CH3, CH2OH. You see, ethanol is short. It has a CH3 close to the carbon that carries OH. Note that this is the same as CH3, CH2OH. You see, it is a primary alcohol. It is a primary alcohol, but it is in the form of a methyl secondary alcohol. It is a primary alcohol which is in the form of a methyl secondary alcohol. Therefore, ethanol also undergoes iodoform test. So methyl ketones, ethanol, methyl secondary. How many minutes do I have? Oh, I am running out of time. Methyl secondary alcohols, ethanol. What do you observe? The observation is pale yellow precipitate of triiodomethane. Pale yellow precipitate of triiodomethane. Now, with the other compounds, any compound which is outside that bracket, other compounds which are outside the mentioned bracket, other compounds, nothing is observed. No observable change. The reaction does not occur. Therefore, they can be, the other compounds can be distinguished from the first category. They can be distinguished from the first category using solution of iodine in presence of sodium hydroxide. So what are the equations? Next, we are going to explore these equations. Allow me stop here.